my fellow exorcists, and welcome to the Lair of the Film Exorcist. Tonight, I will be reviewing Blue Period. Yotaro Yaguchi is a fairly popular student who excels in school, but often deals with inner emptiness and frustrations. One day, he became fascinated by a painting at his high school's art club, so deeply that it inspired him to try his hand at painting. Later, he was inspired by a friend, Ryuji, also known as Ayukawa, and subsequently joined the art club, becoming more deeply involved and attempts to apply for the Tokyo University of Arts as his choice of college. This is a really good show, which is surprising because it came from Netflix. I mean, they did post Comey Can't Communicate. They have added a few good ones like Aldanao Zero, High Score Girl, which I want to review someday along with the others I mentioned. This one was very heartfelt, and while I've liked a lot of anime, this one just hit me a lot differently because it revolves around the idea of whether you're good at art or not. It doesn't just take talent. It takes luck, it takes practice, and it takes some bit of knowledge. And we see that with Yaguchi in this, who, yeah, he's good at school, and he's decent at art at the beginning, but it takes a lot of studying just for him to come close to his full potential that we see at the end of the series. Like, this is a huge arc of Yaguchi trying to figure out his worth, realizing that essentially his self-doubt, that's the word I was trying to think of, he doubts himself so much that has become his muse. And it kind of got me thinking, because recently, about a year, maybe two, I started writing these stories and poetry, and I've been working on this comic with Opal, and I've been making these videos, and essentially this is my version of art, which, as anyone could tell you, the videos that I do here are essentially underappreciated or underviewed thanks to YouTube. My stories are decently viewed with a little over 200, maybe 300 views. The comics are decently viewed, not as well as everything else, but they're somewhat seen. And right now, it's just like, I constantly think when I'm writing these stories that they're never going to be as good, and I doubt myself, and sometimes that's what gets me through writing these stories. I mean, other than the obvious idea that I need to get them done or I'll never get them done, because they could end up actually really good despite my own misgivings. But yeah, essentially I felt a kinship to Yaguchi, with the idea of my entire life has been spent studying and preparing myself for college and other things, which I recently graduated, and now I'm essentially lost and have no clue what the hell I want to do, nor do I know how to get where I want to go. Like, I've always said I wanted to be a director, yet these videos were supposed to be an outlet, and they haven't really gotten me as far as I want. My writing probably as mediocre as anyone who's only written like 6 things, not counting essays and other writing assignments. And my story ideas are seemingly basic, but I still keep trying, and that's why I admire Yaguchi in this. The show also takes apart a lot of other heavy tones, like we see in Ryuji's storyline. She's, well, not she, but he he cross dresses because he's trying to show his outer beauty, because he doesn't feel comfortable in his own body, and so he dresses up like a girl because it makes it easier for him both to connect with girls and connect with guys, because he's bisexual, which we don't find out until later. And it also reveals that they do not have that good of a family life. Like, she is abused emotionally and physically by her parents, and the only one she can trust in her own house is her grandmother, and that's because she's the inspiration for why she got into art, Japanese art in general. And turns out she's actually really good at fashion and drawing clothing, because that is her outlet, and that's what she has to come to realize later on with help from Yaguchi. Um, it also reveals that hidden, but also pretty obvious, she is the friend that, I'm forgetting her name. She's the really smart art student that her whole family got into the same art school, uh, and she's essentially try hard, but we can kind of tell that the friend she was talking about that had the eating disorder and failed the exam was Ryuji. We also have Yagashi's rival, the overconfident character of Yatsuki, or Takahashi as he's called throughout the entire show, who essentially gets into the same art school as Yaguchi near the end because his overconfidence is his muse, and he's just really good at art. Like, he's got the talent, and he just focuses only on himself and is kind of a loner in a bit and wants nothing to do with him. We also have his friend who we kind of call Braids throughout the show, but his name is Ashida, who doesn't get into school, and ends up. He's like the calm, smooth guy who's really good at art, but also he takes too much time relaxing to practice the art styles that he needs to work on to get into the college, and he's just really smooth character, kind of a bit listless. And that character I was talking about, whose entire family got into the college in one try, was Kuwana, who is a very helpful character in this series. Like, she helps Yaguchi when he almost passes out from carrying his art supplies up the stairs to the second part of the exam, and she's also like, she has a similar personality to Yaguchi, but also she's so obsessed with getting into this college because the rest of her family did, and she just wants to impress them while also getting a good career like her sister, who just passed before her. We also have the prominent character of Miss Oba and the art club teacher, Miss Seki, two huge inspirations for Yaguchi. Like, Seki was the one who got him to go to the prep school, got him involved with the art club next to Mori and Ryuji, and has just been a big influence and has helped him improve his art from the beginning. And then we have Miss Oba, who pushed him to look at art a different way, like look at the ideas of colors and the research that goes into them, the concept of still art and how you can improve your art style, and the idea that art is more than just art. It's a lifestyle. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of research, a lot of knowledge, and it takes time to practice. And she is ultimately the major influence throughout the rest of the series that pushes him heavily to do better. I mean, without her, he probably wouldn't have gotten in and he wouldn't have survived the exams, because she is the reason why he got through the second and third day of the second exam. And it's just her classes are just so intense that they push him to be his best, to do his best. Mori, on the other hand, who appears throughout the beginning of the show, and like Ryuji and Miss Seke, are a huge reason why he got into the art club. She is his senior, and she's essentially, again, like the rest, pushed him, and her artwork was actually the thing that gave him the idea for his final art piece in the exam. Like, she was the one that helped him come to the idea of he has to be his own artist, that his low self-esteem, that's the word I was thinking of. She was what helped him come to that idea, along with Ryuji. I'm kind of glad that there was no technical romance in this series. Like, most shows, Ryuji and Yaguchi would have gotten together and it would have been a whole big story about that. But, one, they're both guys, which I'm not saying they can't be gay and they can't. I mean, one of them is bisexual, but they're not really each other's types. But it also makes the story better because we're not just going over the same trope of, oh, there's got to be a romance in the series. Instead, we're just following the story of an inspiring artist who came up from the idea of he had to study for everything just to get a good job. And because of this makes this series a whole lot better. I mean, it was so good, and I wanted to savor the moment of watching this. Like, I'm really surprised it was so good. And I kind of hope I can find something as good as it. Like, honestly, 11 out of 11. And I hope the rest of the series that the creator of this did are just as good, because maybe I'll check them out. Yeah, if you haven't seen this, if you haven't watched this beautiful anime yet, go right now, because you are missing out on a lot, because this is just best anime of the year so far. Still up in the air, but this is my favorite of this year so far. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little notification bell for more videos and more of our content, and have a great night.